This may be the biggest thing that's ever happened.
Wherever there is injustice, you will find us. Wherever there is suffering, we'll be there. Wherever liberty is threatened, you will find
the three AmiVO's. Dave McRae, Garnet Williams, Mike Pongracz. Separately, they are humble Canadian voiceover superstars. Together, they are the three AmiVO's.
Ladies and gentlemen,
here we go.
And now, the AmiVO's and Friends Super-Funtastic Happy Hour VOdcast.
everyone ready?
Yeah.
I'm out of my headspace to start already.
No, you're not. You're
talking the dancing thing.
No, yeah.
Do I need to dance?
You were. It would make me happy.
Okay. What do you want me to do?
Well, if he's out of his headspace,
Okay.
I mean,
Do the shopping cart.
The shopping cart?
You do the All right.
welcome, ladies and gentlemen,
Let's do
to the AmiVO's and Friends Super-Funtastic Happy Hour VOdcast. Mike's too busy shopping to...
lawnmower. Do the lawnmower.
Do the lawnmower? Lawnmower.
Yeah.
do the riding mower.
And there was one you did. I can't remember what it was.
It was the sprinkler. Oh, no, wasn't the sprinkler? The Vogue?
The script.
Nobody knows.
I can't remember.
Nobody knows what
it was one he made up on the spot. Oh,
here.
yeah. I should
So,
explain.
welcome.
Yeah, welcome, everybody. Welcome
Dave's
back.
already done the walk because he knew we were completely far gone.
Well, you see, I wasn't with you at Faffcon.
No.
Unfortunately, I couldn't make Faffcon, and I apologized to everybody out there. And I had a appointment, pre-arranged appointment that I needed to attend to, and I wasn't able to make it. But I hope to make it in the future.
And you were there in spirit.
In the future,
AmiVO's
You were
represented.
You were mentioned.
in the future, I flubbed that up. In the future, in the future.
I
was there.
Let's get formalities away. To my left, AmiVO Dave McRae.
Hey!
In front of me, AmiVO Garnet Williams.
Oh,
I am AmiVO Mike Pongracz.
the dancing machine.
So
this first 20 minutes or 15 minutes, we're going to talk about Rob Ford. And
absolutely.
So it's been a while since we were here.
Yes.
yeah.
It's been a while since we did a show. We just got so damn busy, which is good for
Life got in the
VO.
way.
Life
Yeah.
did get
life
in
got
the way, but what's happened since then? Well, the aforementioned Rob Ford, as Dave just mentioned. Mike and I went to Faffcon in October.
Faffcon was awesome.
That was
Yeah.
a lot of fun, and
I'm sorry I could not be there, but I heard great things, and I hope to be at one in the future.
Yeah, and just for
I
the
just had a deja vu.
Really?
You just said that shit.
Yes, I know.
for the record, though, I do have to say a very special shout out, not only to the entire Canadian contingent that was down there, but in particular Patrick Sweeney.
Oh my goodness.
Who, honestly, I mean, we've had him on the show, and he is a ridiculoly nice guy.
He's a sweetie.
Incredibly talented as well. But my God, if there was anybody that could have thrown on the mini skirt, the sweater vest, and the pom-poms to cheer and spread the good word of the three AmiVO's, it was Patrick Sweeney. I met more people through Patrick. I think generally I'm an outgoing person at first. I might be a little bit, a little hesitant because it was kind of daunting. And I mean, Garnet and I were talking about this, that we're going down into sort of uncharted territory for us.
With the exception of Pat and Elaine, Jody, Glad.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that we know online, but we've never met. It is
Right.
like you're meeting a bunch of strangers.
It's like the first day of school, right?
And they all do the exact same as you.
Yes. And I think the first couple hours we may have held back a little bit. By the end of the weekend, I think we showed our true colors because we
were hunting for liquor stores with them.
Those colors are red and white, baby.
And Patrick, God love Patrick. He introduced us, and this is I've dubbed it now the Patrick Sweeney move. I should call it
The Sweeney move.
The Sweeney.
The Sweeney. I like that.
Patrick, and he's gonna shake his head when he hears this. But what Patrick would do, he'd be talking to somebody, and he'd say, "Oh, hey, Mike, Garnet, come over here, and it'd say Jay Patrick from Sunspots, as a prime example.
Yeah,
he's like, Jay, this is Garnet, and this is Mike. They're also from Toronto. They're the three AmiVO's. Have you heard of the three AmiVO's? I'm like, no, they're a group of guys. They're voice talent, great guys. And he'd pump us up,
and then he'd walk away,
and then
right?
He walks away.
And then he walks
there
away.
you go. There you go. That's the Sweeney.
It's the Sweeney. And it was brilliant.
Dan Hurst, at the bar on the first night. That's how we got introduced to Dan Hurst.
Linda Joy, the same. Like, all these people, it was amazing. And
Brilliant.
it was the Sweeney move.
It was the Sweeney.
He knows how to work a room.
He does.
I got to admit, when I saw the photos being posted on Facebook as the weekend was progressing.
Oh, yeah, it was like live blogging all weekend long.
Yes, it was. And there was a part of me that was going, oh, man,
I know, you wanted to be there.
I wanted to be there. I wanted to reach through my screen and be there. And There
was so many cool people, and just the experience. I've never been to Texas,
but it was very cool to meet a lot of these people that we've had contact with on various groups, social media groups.
Many kindred spirits.
Yes,
right.
A lot of people that walk the same path, and some very cool ideas. Like, obviously Faffcon, without getting into the nuts and bolts, a lot of people do know. If you don't go to faffcon.com, you'll figure out what it is.
Right.
A lot of great nuggets of information. A lot of great connections, and just some great ideas that came out, and very, I don't know, I want to say not inspiring. Well, it was inspiring, but
some of them
motivational.
Yeah. Right.
Just when we got back, I think there were some things kind of like that pick me up, because you were surrounded with people that do what you do.
So you were feeding off of their positive energy.
The energy is so infectious.
Right.
Where even if you went down there and you didn't necessarily come back with anything that you didn't already know, just the atmosphere.
Just being with people who get it.
Kind of recharges your batteries.
Yes.
Yeah,
and you want to go back and just like, okay, maybe it's been a while. I've been like doing a lot of marketing and building the website and stuff, and it's taken a lot out of you. And you go down there and you come back just like ready to jump back in.
Would the two of you go again?
Yes.
I would go again.
Yes.
Would you go again?
I would.
I
go
definitely
again.
would.
Okay. Well, then the next time you guys go, I mean, I think we need to go together.
Yeah.
Now, it's a thing.
I don't know though. That means we'd have to share a room together, all three of us. And Garnet and I, we shared the room together, and it was.
Oh, that's true. So there's you're already ahead of me there. Well, you know what? I'll just sleep in the lobby.
Hey, don't joke. The last night we actually did.
We did that.
We did. And
we pulled an all-nighter.
Yeah.
In the lobby.
We were up at 8 a.m. Well, we weren't alone. There was a lot of faffers.
Yeah.
Yes.
There was much drinking going on, and much Cards Against Humanity.
Cards
being
Against
played.
Humanity, which has become the
official Faffcon card game.
Yes.
But we stayed up, and we just we didn't have a room. Brad Venable was nice enough to let us keep our bags in his room.
What up, Brad? Yep.
But we were just hanging out downstairs and drinking until we were like, our flight leaves at 6. It's about 4:30. Let's call a cab. We went. A bunch of us left. But others were going to different terminals. But it ended up being Celia Siegel.
Yep.
And Dan Leonard. Dan Leonard.
Good
Buffalo.
old Dan Leonard.
And his mustache was there as well.
Yes.
And we went.
We had breakfast.
We had
awesome.
breakfast. We were sitting there eating our huevos rancheros.
Yes. And just yakking. All of a sudden I realized we got to go because our flight is boarding.
It's actually boarding right now. So we just couldn't even finish our breakfast. And
so how much did you have to drink on the plane coming back?
We were asleep. We were asleep before the plane took off, and woke up in Atlanta.
No, I know that.
Even though we were supposed to end up in Detroit.
Obviously, that joke flew over their heads big time.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, that's great. You know what? It sounds like you guys had a great time and very positive experience. And I think that's great. So where is the next Faffcon going to be? Do we know?
All Amy would tease, Amy Snively, the Faff organizer, founder.
The head of Fav.
Yes. All she teased was it was going to be west of the Mississippi.
Yeah.
All right.
And we actually had to write postcards to ourselves that they're going to mail to us when they get the location. So it's kind of a neat little thing. So at some point, the future me.
So west of the Mississippi
the past me is going to tell me the future me.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if it was in Vegas?
That could be very bad.
That would be very, very bad.
Very, very bad.
Very, very bad. So that was fun, and that was back in. I can't believe it. We're already that far removed from it.
I know.
But we have we got some stuff out of there, and we met some wonderful people. And between that and just regular work, it's
like I'm hearing Vitamin C's Friends Forever playing now.
I know. It's very...
Hello, 1999.
But I will say that what was the nicest thing that came out of it was getting to meet some people that you read about online.
Right.
Sort of Facebook friends and colleagues, but to actually physically get to meet some of these people and, you have certain expectations based on what they've written and how they present themselves online. And in every case, it was dead on what you would expect, but then magnified by 10.
Right.
So, I mean, Peter O'Connell was awesome.
You have to experience Peter in person. I know we had him on the show, and he was hilarious, kept us in stitches with his interview that we did. But the man is more energetic than lightning in a bottle. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, you can't keep up with him, and he is just... Like, he
was in his element.
Always going.
And so
working a crowd.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we got out of it, which was really neat to see that, again, these people that you build up a certain image in your mind and based on what they're writing, and then you actually get in a room with them and, share some chatter, drinks.
Online is the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah. Right.
When you actually compare it to
and it was nice
because
I mean, Garnet and I, to be fair, we had our doubts that when we got down there, it's be like, oh, these people, some of these people are going to disappoint.
Yes,
but they didn't. So we made some new friends.
I don't think I could possibly feel any more alone than I do right now.
I'm just a lonely boy. So anyway, that was that. But since then, it's just been very busy, and we finally managed to get into the studio to do another VOdcast. And today on the show, it's kind of neat because we sometimes we'll have guests that are local, and some that we've met along the way in travels that are outside of Canada. But today we have a very cool guest that has transcended both borders.
Yes.
And has some very cool things happening right now that have happened, that are upcoming, and we're going to be able to dig deeper into the U.S. and Canada.
That's right.
Melding.
Yes.
That's a real weird sort of description.
But it's a good way of putting it, though.
I like that.
A melding.
Melding.
He is a voice talent based in Toronto. However, his past business savvy and experience in not only
corporate marketing, is it?
Yeah, corporate and broadcasting.
Yep.
Has sort of veered him on a path that has taken him to New York City to work with some awesome people down there, which we had a chance to meet while we were down at Faffcon and beyond.
I'm just a lonely boy.
Sorry, Dave. Coming up after our AmiVO iceberg tip, we will sit down and chat.
We will
connect with.
We will both be able to, and we will.
Yes. With Graeme Spicer, who is the managing director of Edge Studio in New York City. So please sit back.
Just a lonely boy.
AmiVO Dave will sing us out, and then we will chat with Graeme Spicer when we return on the AmiVO's and Friends Super-Funtastic Happy Hour VOdcast.
The 3 AmiVOs.
Warning. We'll be right back.
Changing the voiceover industry 1 toque at a time.
We're going to take a little break, but we'll be back in a while, so don't nobody go nowhere.
And now,
And now, it's time for another 3 AmiVOs fun fact.
Hey, AmiVO Garnet here, and you know how on Facebook they have these memes that go around, and hey, if you like this, then you have to tell me 6 things about, stuff that you've done or stuff that you like or places you've been, whatever. There was one going around recently that I actually kind of liked. I usually shy away from them, but this one was basically somebody gave you a number, and whatever number they gave you, you had to tell that many things about yourself that all your Facebook friends, and you might have a lot of them, something that they wouldn't know about you. So I decided to jump in with both feet and share 12 things about myself that you might not know. And if you missed it on Facebook, here it is again. Number 12. My wife and I are cat people, and we have had a lot of cats since we moved in together many moons ago. Just off the top of my head, Keisha, Misha, Tigger, Toonces, Leo, Brady, Duchess, and Ginger. Number 11. For the last 4 years, I have been a part-time college professor teaching in the same broadcasting course that I myself graduated way back in 19... Number 10. My mother is from Scotland, and my father is from Wales. They met in Canada, and I was born here, but I am also a citizen of the UK. Number 9. I barbecue about 3 times a week. I love barbecue. I will grill anything, and when I do, I drink Caesars. For my American friends, it's kind of like a Bloody Mary, but it's made with clamato juice, which is kind of like tomato juice, only with clams in it. It tastes a lot better than it sounds. Number 8. My wife was 16, and I was 18 when we met. We've been together for 23 years. Number 7. With my parents being from Scotland and Wales, I've traveled quite a bit in the UK, and my wife wife for many years was a travel agent, so we went to all kinds of places in the Caribbean, from Mexico to Jamaica to Barbados to Cuba several times, but I have never been outside my own province here in Canada. Kind of sad, actually. Number 6, I am an amateur wannabe chef. I have always loved to cook. I do all the cooking in the house for my whole family. Going into one of those kitchen supply stores is like me going into a Home Hardware or a Lowe's. Like, I could just spend the day there. Number 5, I was caught shoplifting from a Zellers when I was 12. I don't know if you guys had Zellers in the States, but it's kind of like a Target. Now it actually is Target because Target came to Canada and bought all the Zellers and shut them down. But yeah, I was stealing Hot Wheels cars and Star Wars action figures and selling them on the playground at a discount. So I was kind of an entrepreneur, but yeah, my folks didn't see it that way. Number 4, my favorite movie of all time is Casablanca. Number 3, remember I said that my father was from Wales? For a short period of time, when I was 5, I actually lived with his parents in Wales and I attended school there. When I came back to Canada, I was hugely ahead of all my classmates as far as reading and writing goes. Something to be said for that United Kingdom school system. Number 3, I play the drums. Never took a lesson, self-taught. I'm no John Bonham, but I played in several bands growing up. I had a lot of fun with my friends, and I still like to get together and jam every once in a while. Last but not least, and I leave you with this, kind of cryptic, but my name's not Garnet. That's it. 12 things you didn't know about me. Now you're a better person. You're welcome.
And now, the AmiVO's and Friends Super-Funtastic Happy Hour VOdcast.
Everyone ready?
Yeah.
Hit it.
And we're back!
I hate you already. You did this the last show, and now we're doing this again. Welcome back to the AmiVO's and Friends Super-Funtastic Happy Hour VOdcast. It's very exciting today because on a number of reasons. One, because our guest today, A, is a good old-fashioned comedian.
That's right.
Like us.
That's right.
And
Very exciting.
Second of all, I mean, absolute nice guy who's also now, he's a big part, big component, big proponent.
Big part of.
A big part of.
That's right.
Edge Studio, based out of New York City.
That's right.
Which we hear a lot of David Goldberg's name.
Mm-hmm.
His name
Yes.
gets thrown around a lot.
All the time. I mean,
But
you
there's-
think he was the president or
But
something.
there's always a guy behind the guy.
That's right.
And this is the guy, I say this is the guy behind the guy. Graeme Spicer joins us.
How's it going, eh?
That's actually a really good Dave Thomas.
He's keeping it real.
That's really good. Yeah. I like that.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
No, thank you for
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah. Before we get into the Edge Studio stuff, which is very cool in its own right, you're a voice talent first and foremost. How did you go from your earlier job incarnations, your business sort of career side of things, into voiceover in the first place?
Well, it all started at a 50,000-watt radio station. Actually, it really did start at a 50,000-watt radio station in Halifax, Nova Scotia, which is where I'm from originally. My dad knew a guy named John Cunningham, who was this wonderful, wonderful gentleman who was the program director of the beautiful music station, which at the time was called CFDR, not to be confused with 680 CFTR, which was an entirely different radio station.
Right.
So during high school, I literally was a board op at nights, and I would do an occasional swing shift on the weekends. I was a horrible announcer. There is one surviving air check, and I shudder.
Which we have right here. No.
Anyway, so I had some exposure, I guess, to it, as a teenager, and then kind of completely forgot all about it and went off into the corporate world. I worked at a number of different ad agencies and then ended up client side doing strategic planning and senior marketing roles. And I don't know, it came to a point here a few years ago where I needed some sort of creative outlet. I was one of those guys that everyone, hey, you've got a really nice voice. You should do voiceover.
Of course, yes.
As we all hear, on a fairly regular basis. And a friend of mine is a voice actor here in town named Todd Schick. And I went and did a Todd Schick evaluation. And Todd said, hey, you don't suck totally. You really should maybe think about it.
That's high praise, isn't it? That's high praise.
Yeah.
Well, from Todd Schick, if you know him, it is probably high praise. So, and that's how I kind of got into it. And I worked it. I took lots of training. I worked with Nancy Wolfson out of Los Angeles. And for promo, I've done work with Gene Cortez and Joyce Castellanos out of L.A. and worked with Ellie Ray Hennessy here in town. So anyway, I've really worked at it, and I've had, a little bit of success, and I'm just having a blast. I love the voiceover business, being both a voice actor myself and also working with Edge. I mean, I couldn't ask for a better setup.
Now, you're the managing director of Edge Studio. Now, how did it come about that you got hooked up with the folks in New York City there?
I had been doing some work with George Whittam, who is the studio engineer to the Stars in L.A.
Yeah, him and Dan Leonard do the EWABs.
That's absolutely right. Yeah. Anyway, George is a great guy, and I ran into him at an event, and George had some questions. Like we were talking and ended up speaking about the fact that I had a fairly extensive corporate background and had done a lot of work in strategic planning. And he goes, "Hey, I'm really trying to move my business forward. Why don't, maybe we can work together in some way." So started doing some work with George. As it turns out, it kind of made sense after we had done some exploration, is that, George, you really should consider maybe working for somebody else and let somebody else look after all of the administration and all of the finance and all of that crap that you hate and let you focus on what you really do best. And that's talking to people about improving their home audio recording quality. Part of that process was, well, Edge Studio is one of the natural places that George would end up partnering with. So I reached out to David Goldberg in that capacity, representing George Whittam and trying to broker a deal.
Okay.
And ended up, George is now the director of technology at Edge Studio. And David says, well, what you just did for George, can you come do that for me? Because, Edge had grown to a point where, David is a fantastic booth director and coach, but, he's got the same kind of challenges that many small business owners do, is that once you kind of grow it to a certain point, you can't run it like on the back of an envelope and as a family business anymore. You got to, I guess we need to put in some real systems and stuff. So it kind of made sense for me to stay on with Edge and look after a lot of that, the strategic planning and that back office stuff to allow David and the rest of the team to do what they do best, is to run a great production facility and to deliver great training programs to people all across North America.
And it was very cool to actually meet David when Garnet and I were down in San Antonio for Faffcon. Again, a very cool guy once you get talking to him. And like you said, he's a great director and showed a lot of that sort of that directing knowledge, little tidbits here and there throughout the course of the weekend. And he's obviously been spreading the good word around the country as part of the Edge Studio tour. Now, did you have were you behind a lot of that stuff, like the organization, the setting up of all that? Or?
Yeah, to some extent. I think one of the first things that we recognized when I joined in this strategic planning capacity was that this whole idea of community, of the voiceover community and giving back, was always very important to David. And it's something that really resonated with me. And I think it was something that really differentiates Edge from a lot of the other training organizations out there that are quite happy to take $1,200 from somebody and you show up on a Friday night and you leave Sunday afternoon with your produced demo.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just not us.
No, that's drive-through VO.
Yeah, exactly. Which, guys, just take note of that. We have to stop doing that ourselves.
Drive-through VO.
Drive-through VO.
I'll take down the website in a minute.
Yeah.
So this whole idea of community, this thread of community is kind of running through everything that we do now. And certainly getting David out into a lot of markets that don't normally get an opportunity to see someone like David Goldberg was a key proponent of beginning to further grow this sense of community. As you guys probably know, on the Edge Studio website, we give away this huge script library that people can use for practice. You just log in and you can use it for free. And we've got the words to time calculator. We've got a weekly script recording contest. And all of this is free. It's just we're trying to give back a little bit.
Nice.
Are there larger goals that Edge has that maybe they've only begun to sort of scratch the surface on so far?
Well, one of the key things is we want to take the service offerings that George Whittam had previously offered through VO Studio Tech and better integrate that into the overall Edge Studio product offering. And we're in the middle right now of this huge website redevelopment project, which is making me pull my hair out. But
well, start with your mustache, because I've seen your Movember, and you know.
No, that's a hell of a stash.
I have to tell you, I couldn't take it anymore. I couldn't.
I shaved it off.
Yesterday, it was gone.
Sorry, I didn't mean to divert. So the website redesign is causing you to pull out your hair.
Yes, but incorporating George's services and making George's vast knowledge base, like the guy has forgotten more about home studio recording than I'll ever know. Like, he's really amazing. So we want to be able to take that knowledge out to, you know, the broader voiceover community, because right now George's awareness was really strong in the Los Angeles market, where he's based, and you know, all of the A-list promo and commercial folks in Los Angeles, you know, have George on speed dial.
Right.
But outside of the Los Angeles marketplace, there's still a huge market of people that really could use George's services, and we just need to get the word out there. So certainly getting George fully integrated into Edge and to get him, you know, out there, you know, as much as David in the broader community,
right,
you know, educating is important to us.
Yeah.
And I think the other priority is that I think that Edge has a good reputation for the quality of our training and the quality of our educational services. But we have 26 different coaches, and that's another thing that differentiates us, is that we hire working voice actors.
Right.
We don't typically have on our coaching staff people who are professional coaches.
Yeah.
The quality of our education has always been solid. The thing is that depending on the particular coach that any given student would work with, that the type and the nature of the training might be different. So one of my priorities is to try and come up with a more formalized, a more disciplined curriculum that people will go through.
I like the sound of this.
Interesting.
And we're looking at different ways to deliver that. What I'm looking to do is to try and come up with e-learning platforms and other ways of delivering really high quality, high production value training content, but doing it once and then delivering it via e-learning platforms or video on demand, and then allow our coaches to do what they do best, and that's working one-on-one with people and helping them hone and fine-tune their individual performances.
You've become quite the little journalist as well, as of recently, with your, I call it the Mythbusters blog.
Yeah.
I guess I want to start just by saying that I love healthy debate. And I am a big proponent of healthy debate, and I like to challenge things that need to be changed. I'm not a guy that just kind of sits back and is quite happy to accept the status quo. And I think that, you know, my friends would tell you that. But on the other hand, I got to tell you, it pisses me off when the facts being presented out there in social media and in other blogs, etc., are just plain wrong.
Oh, sorry, facts with air quotes around them.
Exactly. I mean, if you want to disagree with the voices.com or voice123.com business models, I'm the first guy to defend your right to complain about it and to try and fix the system and make things better. Not an issue. But it really, really gets under my skin when there's actually just complete misconceptions out there with regards to what the business models look like, the role that online casting plays. I mean, guys, there's no more bank tellers anymore, right? Because everyone uses ATMs. I mean, technology isn't going to go away. If you think that casting, all casting, not just low-end jobs, I mean everything, the big union jobs, they're all going to be cast online in some way at some point in the very near future. Mm-hmm. So get over yourselves and get on board. So
much like the music industry in the early 2000s.
Yep.
That's a perfect analogy. I mean,
MP3s are never going to take off.
No.
You can stick your head in the sand and hope that it goes away and get completely run over, or learn how to work with it. And in the case of online casting, there are things about the online casting business models that I'm not thrilled about. But you know, these are independent, for-profit companies. They're all operating within the bounds of the law, at least as far as I can tell. And if that's the case, then Either work with them, don't work with them, whatever you choose, but they run businesses just like, we all do as independent voice actors. We all are entrepreneurs running our own individual businesses, and we're all in it to make money. So are the online casting sites, and their models are working for them. The clients like the service.
Do you think that's why talent gets so up in arms? Because, as you just said, it's friendly for the client. It's not necessarily friendly for the talent per se.
I'm a talent. I pay a subscription on both sites. I don't, I'm just another working voice actor as far as both of the sites are concerned.
Right.
And I think it's pretty darn friendly to the talent too. I have no objections to, the way the platform works in either of the two leading companies. There are you kind of got to learn how to work it. But once you learn how to work it, it's very talent friendly as well.
The last one that you just did was discussing the 10% escrow fee, which again is another one of those things that comes in with the bidding process that a lot of voice talent were up in arms about. It's like, well, if my bid is $250, then I have to factor in, there's a 10% charge on top of that. So do I have to adjust my bid accordingly? What did you find about that the whole escrow fee? And is that legitimately a reason for talent to get all up in arms about?
I guess it depends on the talent. I can tell you that as far as I can tell, and I did some checking to ensure that I wasn't completely out to lunch when I published that blog post. There's nothing illegal about the 10% escrow fee. I don't love the fact that I'm not allowed to send direct contact information to the person doing the casting when I submit an audition. However, I understand the business reasons why Voices.com has chosen not to allow that to happen. I don't love it, but I get it. And we all have the choice of, if you don't like the way that they run their business, if you don't like the fact that they do kind of intrude upon the relationship that you can enjoy with the end client, then don't use them. I mean, shut up, go away, don't pay, and don't use them. Go to voice123.com or do your business development in some other way.
Yeah.
But it's just, guys, it is what it is. You can love it, you don't love it, but I'm tired of hearing all of the complaining about it. Terrible and illegal and unfair to the artist. And I don't know, I'm getting exposure to all kinds of jobs I would never have seen if it wasn't for Voices.com. A lot of these jobs have healthy budgets, and I give my agent 15%. Why do I object to giving Voices.com 10%? Is it double dipping? Yep, that sucks. But again,
if you don't like it, then don't do it. Right.
Exactly.
Now, is there something so far in your investigation and you're looking into this stuff, is there anything that surprised you about the pay-to-play sites, the pay-to-play model, from a talent perspective that would make you sort of raise your eyebrows and go, you know what, I don't know if this is something that I want to continue focusing my business on, or is there something that's kind of made you say, I better get on board now because this train is going to start picking up speed and I'd rather be going with it as opposed to against it?
I do think that the train is going to continue picking up speed. I can't say whether 10 years from now, whether Voices.com and Voice123.com are going to be the powerhouses in the business or not. I mean, 10 years ago, AOL was one of the biggest web companies. And
right.
Now they're gone.
They're gone? What happened to my AIM, my instant messenger?
I always laugh. David Goldberg still uses an AOL.com email. And every time he does, it's like, David, what the frick's up with that?
Does he dial you up with one of those modems that goes...
I respectively have not had a chance to read your articles, Graeme, so I haven't had a chance to...
They're scintillating, man. I don't know how you could have not gotten there yet.
Well, I'm waiting for the appropriate moment when I'm alone and it's about 11:30 at night, and I have that opportunity.
Bubble bath usually involved.
Candles, scented
sitting
candles
on the toilet with an iPad.
Scented candles in the room, and but it sounds to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, that essentially what you're saying is that, look, folks, folks, there's some things about it that are, you know, are not going to please everybody. And there's some things about it that may need to be reworked, but they're in the business to make money. You're in the business to make money. The platform works.
You guys who are, you know, all based here in Canada will appreciate this. I don't like Rogers as my cell phone provider either. But
Here.
But if I don't, I got the choice. I can go to Bell.
That's right.
But it doesn't mean that Rogers is, you know, an evil company and that they are
Right.
totally out to, you know, screw their subscribers, because that's not the case.
Right.
It is what it is. Learn to either accept it and move on and stop. I mean, God, if I got to think that if all of these people that are writing like these epic posts on Facebook groups, and I mean, God, if you spent the hour and a half it just took you to write that post and did 6 more auditions, you'd be far better off.
Do you think, though, I mean, with these websites that offer really very low rates, do you think, though, that there needs to be a minimum that these sites have to create a sense of pride for these actors? I mean, they don't necessarily have to be $500, but to come into a website where, regardless of whether you're transparent or not, to have a website that's offering VOs for $5 or for $2.50 or something like that, it's sort of, you know, I can see why a lot of talent. I mean, you could make the argument, well, if you don't like it, don't use it. I mean, you know, it doesn't affect you. But there's that sense of you want to be paid what you're worth. And then there are these sites that come along and sort of inconspicuously or conspicuously, depending on the website, kind of say, hey, you know, is anybody out there can do this for $5, you know, and you look at it and you don't audition for it, obviously, because you wouldn't do it for that. But there's that sense of, oh, that kind of makes me feel like crap that there are actually people out there that feel that what I do is only worth $5. So is there a sense that maybe there needs to be more of a appreciation and respect for what we do in order for these sites to sort of maybe up the ante a little bit in terms of their prices?
No.
Wow.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Why do you care?
It's a good question. I think
your clients aren't buying $5 voiceovers.
Right.
No one that we deal with is buying $5 voiceovers. They know you
Right.
can't buy a voiceover for $5.
Right.
If someone wants to buy an answering machine message that sounds like Donald Duck for their nephew for $5, then don't fill your boots. I don't care.
I totally agree with you. But I know that a lot of people do care.
I think
you know?
I think where
So that's a great answer.
I think where the people start to care that aren't necessarily affected,
Right.
is that whole notion that, well, if these sites start to, you know, become the norm, it's going to drive the rates down across the board.
Right.
Which people say, well, the rates have been coming down for the last couple of years. If you look at even in Canada, the ACTRA rates,
Right.
The numbers that have sort of come across, they're not as lucrative as they were 10, 15 years ago.
That's because they have to
10 years
compete
ago.
with the non-union.
But I think it's not only the non-union. I think it's also the simple economics of the world we live in.
The reason why projects, voiceover jobs at the top end of the market are cheaper now, that we're getting less money for them now than we as actors would have gotten 15 years ago, has nothing to do with what's happening at the bottom end of the market.
Right.
The reason why jobs at the top end of the market are not as lucrative as they used to be is totally because of technology. It's because of how much more efficient it is for us to do what we do now. I mean, 20 years ago, Don LaFontaine had to drive around in a limousine from studio to studio to studio in Los Angeles. There's only so many studios that he could hit in a day, and that's why he got $5,000 a pop for a movie trailer.
Right.
Yeah.
As compared to now, where Ben Patrick Johnson or any of the big guys doing trailers now can do a trailer in 7 minutes, not an hour and a half of travel time each way.
No, I think that's a very good point. So that drives the cost down a bit because obviously it takes less time to do. So
yeah, it's much more efficient
sense
now.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think, and it's funny because as we sort of go back around to that, the model of the record industry and even music industry per se, is that it's in order to put something out now. It's not like in the old days where you had a band, you signed them to let's say $100,000 a promotional budget that involved a record and the producing, the mixing, the marketing, all that stuff. where record companies don't spend that now because really you can make an album in your basement, which is of as good quality, depending on who your engineer is.
Yeah.
You can market it, you put up a website,
That's
word
right.
of mouth. A lot of bands now, they've gone that route because they control the dollars.
The entire
themselves.
landscape has changed.
Yeah, and I think voiceover
Is no different.
It's just there's still a very old school mentality, which I get, and you know, there's nothing wrong with trying to hold on to and fight for dollars, because what we do, let's be honest, not everybody can do this.
That's right.
At least not everybody can do it to a certain level. Certain people can learn to it, but I think what we do is. It's a skill. It's a specialized skill.
It's a talent. Absolutely.
And it has a value. I just think the worth of that value is still skewed by the days of Don LaFontaine getting $5,000 a pop for a trailer.
That's right.
But the people at the top end of the business are still making 7 figures and more.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
And talent will be recognized, and talent will be valued and paid for.
Very well put.
Wow, I don't know how you top that. That's
I think we just have to leave it right there.
That is, as John Stewart said the other week, that's in our business what we call a closer.
Yeah.
That's where Graeme drops the mic and walks away.
That's exactly
walks away. Graeme Spicer, he's the managing director of Edge Studio. He's a good old-fashioned Toronto boy now.
He's a hell of a guy
Although
that
from
can grow
Halifax.
one hell of a mustache.
Well, he can.
Yes, he can.
But he's originally an East Coast. See, that was every time we've had a guest, we've learned something unique about them.
That's right.
And for me, unique in this one is that you're an East Coast boy.
Yeah.
I am indeed from Dartmouth, Nova Scotia.
Dartmouth, Nova Scotia.
Go Spartans. Dartmouth High Spartans.
Good night.
Graeme Spicer, managing director of Edge Studio. Some exciting things coming up. The website of Edge Studio is
www.edgestudio.com.
Wow, that's tough.
That's tough.
That's a tough one to remember.
That's a tough one.
It's singular. Don't go Edge Studios because that's somebody else.
And up here, Edge Studios would refer to CFNY in Toronto.
There you go.
Indeed.
Also, and the personal website.
Yeah, if anyone actually cares enough to listen to a demo, my demo, it's GraemeSpicer.com, GraemeSpicer.com.
Simple to the point. And if Edge Studio, if David ever wants some other coaches, don't look at us, because we will totally ruin the entire process.
We are always looking for good coaches. So
which right there negates us right out of the gate.
Yes,
I did specify good.
Yes,
you
thank
did.
you.
There you go. But the thing is, too, is that these coaches need to be working. And like I said, I haven't worked since '98, so that's just it right there.
I like working a room. That's about it. With a drink in my hand. Graeme, thank you so much for spending time with us. Some awesome insight, and we look forward to the next in the Mythbusters. I call the Mythbusters on the P2Ps series that you're working on. So thanks,
It was
dude.
so gracious of you guys to let me come on and chat with you. Thank you so much.
All good,
Much
dude. All good.
appreciated.
We've got an AmiVO's iceberg tip coming up, and then we'll wrap up this edition of the AmiVO's and Friends. I'll get it right. Super-Funtastic Happy Hour podcast right after this.
The 3 AmiVOs.
Warning. We'll be right back.
Changing the voiceover industry 1 toque at a
We're
time.
gonna take a little break, but we'll be back in a while, so don't nobody go nowhere.
Here's another 3 AmiVOs iceberg tip.
Hey everybody, AmiVO Dave here. I just want to mention something that I think is really important, and that is whenever you can, try to get copies of your work. And the reason for that is because it's going to eventually elevate your career as a voice actor. Now, as we all know, when we first start out in this industry, the majority of things on our demos, if not all of the things on our demos, are things that are made up. And if they're produced really, really well, then nobody should know the difference. But in the end, eventually down the road, the more and more work that you do, the more and more you're going to want your demos to be a reflection of actual work that you've done. And the reason for that is so that when clients listen to your demo, or maybe a new agent is listening to your demo, they can make the connection. Maybe it's a commercial they've heard 1,000 times. Maybe it's a commercial they really like. And yeah, maybe sometimes it's a commercial they don't like. But that's the risk that you have to take. The more that they can see and hear the work that you've done, the better. And in the case of a new agent, that will only help your chances. Doesn't guarantee it, but definitely if they can recognize that that you're a working actor doing real work and your demos are a reflection of that actual work, that's a really good thing. And the same goes with clients as well. The more that a client can recognize the work that you've done, the better. Now, in the case of radio and TV, they have to be airing before you can receive a copy of it, and that's understandable. But usually clients, at least the ones I've dealt with, are totally cool with giving you a copy because they understand it's for your website. They get that it's for your portfolio. They understand that it's for your demo. So folks, remember, do the best you can to get copies of your work. It's not always easy, but it's definitely going to elevate your career and profile as a professional voice actor. My name's Dave McRae, and now, back to the show.
Now, the AmiVO's and Friends Super-Funtastic Happy Hour VOdcast.
Everyone ready?
Yeah.
And we're back!
See, I don't even bother anymore. I don't even try anymore because
All right.
I know that's what I'm going to get.
I want to go back to episode 1 to 4, where you actually did that. I want to hear it again. It's for nostalgia for me.
Shut up. You got to do the intro today.
Yeah, that's true.
Should see if he was smart, he would have jumped in. That was very cool. And again, with Graeme at the helm as the managing director of Edge Studio, I think they're in good hands.
I think they are.
I would say so.
And they've got some great stuff coming up that off air. Graeme had mentioned that they're going to be working with Joe Cipriano.
Yes.
On his East Coast book tour.
Yes, he's coming to New York and Washington.
Yeah, and which is I wish I was going to New York now, December 9th, because he's going to be doing a promo workshop.
Ooh.
Which, if you're going to do a promo workshop, that's a good guy to do it. And Joe is an amazing guy, very kind with his time, and apparently I have a stocking stuffer coming at Christmas from my wife, which involves Joe Cipriano.
Ooh.
Yeah, his book.
Yeah, I think it's the book.
Okay.
I was going to get it on iTunes, and I was told not to. So, yeah. So
I thought maybe it was Joe himself.
Well, here
you go, Mike.
Hey, everybody! Boom, 97.3. Yeah.
What a great commercial for Boom that would be, wouldn't it?
It would be Joe Cipriano in my stocking.
Let's pitch it to Boom.
No.
Let's pitch.
Oh, that's so many ways of bad. So yes, thank you to Graeme Spicer. Always a very cool guy to chat with, and it was. So now I got a picture of Joe. Joe in like an elf costume or something.
You wake up Christmas morning, you come into the living room, there's Joe's head.
And Joe's just doing like
Joe Cipriano, honey, how'd you know?
Okay, that's enough of that. Dave McRae, the voiceman with 2Ns.com.
Very good, and DaveMcRae.ca.
WilliamsVoiceovers.com.
A website being revamped.
Now yours is too?
I know that feeling.
Oh, this will last a few months.
AllThingsGarnet.com.
Smart ass. That's what it is. I am at mpvoiceovers.com.
It's up now?
Oh, well, the site is up. It's almost ready to go. Allthingsmike.ca now directs to mpvoiceovers.com, just in which it will for a while. But the new framework of the website is up.
Great.
Hey, shout out to another Faffer, Bob.
Bob Merkel.
Mikey down there won Bob's little voice exam doohickey.
Yeah, for 3 months. And so far, very cool. And
check it out.
And I had to run around the room like a Price is Right contestant winner. That was, I meant to say that off the top with the Faffcon. That's how I will be remembered now as Faffcon. Because I was...
Several people were kind of lackadaisical. Oh, I won something. They just kind of walked up there and were looking for some enthusiasm when you win a prize. So
Peter O'Connell's like, hey, let's get some enthusiasm. So what did I do? I got my name called and I ran around the room high-fiving.
Like a housewife from Idaho and let's make a deal.
What a housewife from Idaho. We love all you Idahotians.
You're familiar with that expression.
No, I'm not. I've never heard that.
No, it's very famous.
Oh, okay. Now I thought maybe
like us.
Running around like an Idaho housewife. No?
No.
Just me?
It's just you. I thought... you know what? I can see the emails coming in right now from housewives in Idaho.
The anti-Idaho Housewife Defamation League.
Direct those to 3amivos@gmail.com. The website is 3amivos.com.
Number 3.
Number 3amivos.com. The Twitter handle is @the3amivos.
No, is it?
Yeah, no .com.
No, is it at the 3, like the number 3 AmiVO's?
The number 3 AmiVO's.
Yeah. We really need to be consistent here.
We are terrible with that. For AmiVO Dave to my left.
Good night.
AmiVO Garnet in front.
I'm just going to say goodbye for now.
I'm AmiVO
So
Mike.
long for now.
Until the next time we meet, we bid you a hearty ole!
We are finished. We are over. It's over.
The AmiVO's and Friends Super-Funtastic Happy Hour Vodcast has been brought to you by the three AmiVO's.
Show's over.
It was written, recorded, edited, and produced from deep within the Great White North by Dave McRae, Garnet Williams, and Mike Pongracz.
Are we going bye-bye?
For more AmiVO fun, questions, or comments, check us out online at 3amivos.com, on Twitter at the